That's good. This is good, man. Same as yesterday. Of course, no one's gonna eat it in the house. So instead of throwing all this away, I'm gonna eat it. I put it back on the pan, frying pan, heated it up, and then just put sriracha over the top. I don't know if you guys know that sauce. Legendary. You could put freaking that sauce on some sand and it will go down well. Amazing. What's up, fellas? Gonna get this feed down, and then in about an hour and a half, time to go to war. Super squat style. Breathing squats. Hopefully I can get 12 today. But I've been thinking last night, if I got 11 last night, why did I just rack it right away? Why didn't I just stand there for like another 30 seconds and get that benefit of holding onto heavy weight? So I might do that. I don't know how I feel. It's always easier to say it when you're not in agony, but maybe today I'll, instead of racking it right away, I'll get up and I'll just stand there. Hopefully I can do that. Yeah. You gotta eat a lot. This is why they say, getting the milk down is probably the best way to go about it, because it's freaking hard to get those calories in. Yeah. And that's the thing, you have to recover. And most of that means eating a lot of food. You can't be expecting to go to hell and back with these freaking squats and then eat your freaking cereal thereafter. Nah, man. If you're gonna have such physical exertion, you're gonna have to load up on some heavy food. This just makes me think about my dad talking about vegetarians. That's all well and good, man. Vegetarians, vegans, all these people, they're all right. But none of these diets are made for heavy labor, like, we were talking about him and his dad, my grandpa, going into the woods and chopping trees down. It's all well and good, man, but we ain't doing that on some cereal and some freaking carrot sticks. Nah, man, you have to eat some fat, lots of carbs and lots of protein, and then you go out into the woods for the next 5-6 hours chopping down a freaking tree and dragging that shit back. That's not done on some freaking cereal. You need heavy food. And so oftentimes I feel like the best lifters in the world are the best eaters in the world. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but if you're gonna want to get strong, man, you're gonna have to eat a lot. Now there's obviously a second thought to that, and is you don't want to get obese. I don't want to get obese. So you kind of need to eat to the training you're doing or to the physical exertion you're doing. So, I'll look at myself and I'm like, okay, I've got room to grow. Like you can still see the tricep or whatever. So that means I can continue to eat. But, if I was full and, double chin, triple chin, okay, maybe ease up on the eating. So it's a fine balance. Oh, nice, man. You wore the jersey. That's sick, man. All the best, man. Have a good night. Clarence was a vegan. Pretty sure he was before juicing. Well, you have to ask him that. The thing is, like, there are animals in the animal kingdom that are vegetarian, right? And they're like muscular. If you've got 8-10 hours a day to eat, and you sit there eating all day, that's all well and good, but you need to spend a lot of time eating. A lot of time eating. Some of these animals are grazing all day. I'm sure it can be done. Anything can be done, right? It's just, it's a lot harder to be done when you have a restrictive diet. Simple as that. I'm sure you can just eat carrots all day and get what you need. You just have to eat 5 kilos of carrots a day. Funny you mentioned peanut butter. I read something recently. There was a study that came out that said peanut butter was linked to cancer. But not peanuts, just peanut butter. Something about the process. These things drive me insane, man. Literally every food that we consume has a study somewhere that says it causes cancer. What the hell are we supposed to eat, you know? It's crazy. Oh, you can't eat peanut butter now. Can't do it. I'll get to probably train the full clean and jerk. It's just, to me, like that, those exercises are not my main focus. I don't know. I don't have that attraction to it. But as a tool, as a training tool, you know, to get some qualities out of them, absolutely. It's a great, you know, sport. It's a great movement. Eric, I'm a nurse. A nurse at the emergency department. LA Soul Boy 60, how are you, man? Good to see you. Squats are stupid to me. I never do them except my calf legs. And to get all the women. Get all the women with my shoulders to weight ratio and big arms. Working the thighs and the butt is dumb to me as a man, your opinion. What can I say to you, man? I once heard a quote. It was like a meme or something for women. They said, if you're a man cares more about the lower body than upper body training, he's a keeper. If you think big biceps will get all the women for you, I don't know how old you are, man, but there seems to be a maturity level thing here. I don't know what sort of women you are chasing, but the women that are caring about your biceps are not the women that I want to associate myself with. These are women that are not going to bear your children. They're not going to stick around. These are women not worth your time. I might be insulting you, and I'm sorry about that. You might be 15 years old. I don't really know. But women that go for your body are not the women that you want to be spending time with. And these are the women that are going to get you in trouble. You might be paying child support for the next 20 years because of the women that you're mentioning. But we're all different. If a woman is with you because you have big biceps, I don't know what to tell you, man. But at the same time, I can tell you that when I was 18 years old, I probably thought big arms was the number one priority to going to the gym as well. So it's easy for me to sit here at 35 and talk about like I'm all freaking wise and stuff, but I was probably where you were around your age. I don't know if you're gonna take my advice or not, but you don't need those women in your life. Trust me, man. And actually, the funniest thing is, most women don't like bodybuilding types. If you just go for a run 3 times a week and you maybe do some push-ups at home, once or twice a week, that's pretty much all they want. This idea of mass monsters walking around is not appealing to the opposite sex, from what I understood from my wife and many other women in my life that I know. The only people that care about these mass monsters and this, pyramid shape is blokes like you and me, right? Like, dudes. So if you're interested in other dudes, then of course, you do you. But you mentioned women, and I don't know too many women that are attracted to stick legs and swole biceps. What's up? What's up? Yeah. Some questions don't deserve answers, I guess. Anyway. He-Man and Barbie. Henrik, man, I love that. Absolutely, man. Hey, Dan, how are you, dude? I'm good. How are you? What are you up to, man? Vishal, how you doing, dude? Oh, dude. Who am I to tell you that you're wrong? That strong legs look bad to you. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Some people like blondes, some people like brunettes. Some people like big legs, some people like skinny legs. It's all well and good, whatever. But in terms of function, in terms of health, in terms of longevity in life, I think training your posterior chain is by far the most effective. If you think about what the posterior chain means and what it represents, it trains the area that is most often injured in life, in workplaces. If you look at any freaking stats, any statistical spreadsheet of injuries in the workplace, you will see lower back is number one. Maybe it was different previously in history, but it seems to me every other person that I come across has some sort of bad back. But if you can deadlift 300 or deadlift 2 times, 3 times your body weight, you're pretty much, immune to getting injured by picking up a pen off the floor, because you have explored and trained these ranges of motions of the hip hinge. So, and I don't know, like if you look at the stats, like you're talking about bicep curls and biceps, the comparison between the rates between lower back and elbow injuries are much different. But whatever. I feel like I'm talking to you, and talking to you about longevity at 18, you're not going to give a shit about longevity probably. Nice, dude. Kickboxing tonight as well. Man, I forget sometimes that people train with a barbell and then, you know, do another thing like kickboxing or Brazilian jiu-jitsu or something like that. Or me back in the day when I still kind of played a little bit of social basketball, it's a completely different thing to kind of introduce, you know. For me, I just worry about recovering for the next barbell session. But, you know, if you're thinking about how you're going to perform in kickboxing, that's another thing you have to periodize and kind of work around. And it can get very, very difficult, I can imagine. Actually, the GHD is not being used right now. But I look at it every day and I'm like, I would love to jump on there and just go crazy for a set of 30. But I have to resist. I have to resist in this phase of training where I'm pushing the shit out of the back. So when you do an AMRAP set with the squats, technically speaking, you should not have anything left. Nothing should be left. So for me to come off the 180 for 11 and to want more lower back exertion, it would be pretty crazy. It would tell me that I'm not 100% all there with the squats. So after I rack the bar with the 180s AMRAPs, I'm done, man. I don't want to do anything else. I'm spent. All I really do after that is maybe some calves or some shoulders or something, but nothing got to do with lower back. Spent. So, but yeah, there will come a time where I'm going to prioritize another lift. I think, maybe not. Depends on how I go with the 180s. Ideally, I just want to squat. Nothing comes in front of my squats. If I can squat 180 AMRAPs every third day for the next 5 years, I would. But let's see how it goes. You know, I'm going to keep pushing it. This morning, I woke up with my back kind of lower back feeling a little bit iffy, tight. So let's see how today goes. Today's my AMRAP set day. I'll get this food in, then I'll go out there and warm up and see how it feels. But I can just imagine that it's going to get harder and harder for me to recover for these sessions, and I might have to throw in an extra day. We'll see. But yeah, no GHDs for now. Yeah, the balancing is part of the fun, absolutely. Henrik, spot on. I think most people find squats very, very difficult, me being one as well. And I fell in love with the difficult. I wanted to explore that difficulty. Hence why I fell in love with it. But and on top of all of that, if you think about what is the worst way to squat, what is the worst program to squat? Super squats and these AMRAP sets, it is filth. It is absolute filth. There's nothing comfortable about it. It does not feel good. It feels like you're being raped by the barbell. It is hell. I get nervous before it, and I'm already freaking nervous about what's coming in the next 2 hours. I'm jittery because I know it's gonna be hell. I'm going into a fight. You know, I know there's some severe discomfort coming up. But if I said to myself, I'll just do 5 sets of 5 with like three reps in the tank, whatever, that's not even a thought. But knowing that, shit, I might even get to 12 or 13. Depends how mentally engaged I am and how much pain I want to endure. That's where squatting really sucks. It sucks, man. But all of that gets kind of overpowered by the feeling of racking the weight, that relief that you get. It's like, oh my God, it is like the runner's high. It's like you've climbed a mountain, you're now at the top. It's the best feeling. So you can't get that top feeling without feeling the other side of it, the feeling the shit. The reason why you feel great at the end of that is because you really feel shit at the start of it. So it's kind of one of those things. You just have to well, for me, like, I'll do the 160 for 5 as the last warm-up. And then in the last week or so, I've been taking 15 or 20 minutes off, and it's hell. I don't generally take that long between sets. But for these, I have been, because I really want to like recover 100% and then go into it. And that 20 minutes is just a nervous wreck, because it's like, I just want to get on with it. I want to get on with it. Just the impending doom that's coming is just awful. So I'll sit there, get on Instagram, get on TikTok, get on YouTube, just try and bypass the time, because the thinking of, oh my God, it's coming. I just want to get on, jump on in it. But to get the most of it, you got to rest 15, 20 minutes. Really, really just warm up and then sit down, fully get ready, and then jump up and attack. So, yeah, good times ahead. Veliki pozdrav i tebi. Overhead press. No, I don't do that anymore. That's the thing. I can't do it all. Right now, I'm just basically doing AMRAP sets, and all the other stuff, I feel like it's a non-event in comparison. I'm doing barbell rows, I'm doing bench pressing, I'm doing calf raising, I'm doing lateral raises. A lot of these things, except rowing, it's just easy. Bench press to me is easy. I'm just laying down, man. I'm just laying down. There's nothing else to it. Do you feel like your form stays clean for more reps in a row than before? I'm keeping the row really light, man. Like, I'm still doing 60 kilos. I've kind of concluded that when you start loading up the row, it starts to look less and less like a row and more like a deadlift. And I'm doing a deadlift now, man. My back is fried. And so I try to keep it really, really strict. So 60 kilos for me is plenty. Because if I go to 80 or 100, I'll start to, sway. And if you're swaying, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, of course, that can be also an alternative. But because I'm squatting so hard right now, I can't afford any of that. So the rowing, oh, you mean AMRAP sets? Yeah. I mean, I've kind of identified multiple different things before this block. And that was posterior chain is my shit, basically. The side glute stuff is keeping the hip pain away. That's kind of like the second thing, or even the first thing. And then the third thing is the upper back. So the upper back is part of this program right now that I'm doing. It's part of the thought process. Is it doing anything for me? I'm not sure, but I definitely feel a little bit thicker through the lats and through the upper back. How much is it carrying over? I have no idea. But I'll keep at it. I'll keep training it. Because I'm not doing deadlifting right now, I feel like rowing is just a no-brainer. If I had deadlifting in, then we go back to the same conversation that I've had for years. How the hell do you mix those two up in a squat everyday program? I'm sure you can do rowing and deadlifting in the same program, but when you're squatting every day, it changes certain parameters. So that's kind of how I've got it right now. So AMRAP set one day, the next day I do rows and bench. The next day I do basically next to nothing, just work up to 160 for set of 5, do some shoulders, and then again, I'm ready for the AMRAP set again. And I just keep repeating, rinsing and repeating this 3-day split. So yesterday was very easy, very, very easy, In terms of exertion, it's very easy. And it has to be easy because today is going to be freaking hard. Today's session is not going to be long at all. Like, it's going to be probably an hour. By the time I warm up, get the hips right, work up to 160 for 5, and then hit the AMRAP set, that whole thing might take me 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And then the last 20 minutes, I'll just do some calf raises and that's it. And then that's it. And then for the rest of the day today, I'll just go about my business. It feels like it's not enough in terms of like volume, but when some of that volume is an all-out soul-destroying set, then you start to understand. And like if you read this book, right? If you read this book, you know, one of the discussions is like, I gotta find it. Where does it say? I don't know, I can't find it now, but basically in here it goes into like people's question in regards to I don't feel like this is enough work. If you think this isn't enough work, then you're not giving yourself enough time, because eventually if you continue to the linear progression of this program, there will come a moment where all you're going to want to do is the squat and run. And they talk about like the other stuff is kind of optional almost, like if you want to do the rows and all this other stuff. It's next level stuff. If you don't believe me, man, like at least once in your life, give it a shot. Give it a shot for a few weeks, the super squats, and you will redefine what training is. Because every day that you do this, it's a conversation with your freaking creator, with your maker. I know I'm kind of making it sound like real bad, but the training without this type of training, like without MRAP sets, is just, you're going through the motions. It's not really training. And if I think about like during my basketball days, a lot of the training sessions, especially the preseason stuff, was kind of like this. You're running up a sand dune. You don't do it for like, oh, you know, with 3-4 sets and reps in reserve. No, man, you're running out until you collapse, until you're done. You're pushing beyond your limits. And I think a lot of us that train, we get a little bit too comfortable. And this is one-way ticket to discomfort city. It will teach you what training actually should feel like. For too long, I've been comfortable training. For way too long. I've been coming in and thinking like, oh yeah, I'll just work up to a comfortable single, and then I'll come back down, maybe do a couple of comfortable triples. Keyword comfortable. And you know, for a long time, I thought that the frequency is gonna make it go. No, it's not gonna do shit for you, dude. Cut all that crap out and just say to yourself, I'm going to try and work hard for one damn set and then go home. By far more productive than you fart-assing around for 3 hours in the gym, tickling your balls with singles at freaking 80%. Screw that shit. Forgo all that crap. Do one set where you talk to the maker and walk away, and then continue resting, continue building, which is resting and sleeping and whatever. Oh, Dan, thank you, dude. Really appreciate the support, dude. On multiple platforms and multiple fronts. You're a beast, man. Thank you. Yeah, the live streams, man, I don't know what it is, but I do enjoy them. I've mentioned before, you know, they're not really good for the algorithm or for the YouTube or for the creators, all this stuff that, you know, creators like to talk about. You know, really poor stats on these videos. And it kind of tanks your channel in a little bit. The algorithm forgets you even exist, but screw all that. I enjoy hanging around with the fellas, and I feel like it's much more rewarding to me, and hopefully even to you. Much more rewarding than me typing on comments. You know, it's more authentic, it's more raw, and I feel like I get a lot more out of this. I mean, yeah, theoretically you could make this work for multiple exercises in a way. But squats are probably the best, because you want an exercise where the first part of the exercise is an eccentric. You don't want to do something that is concentric first. It's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna go well for you. Like if you start doing deadlifts like this, you're gonna be rooted before you know it. Somewhere where you can use elasticity of the muscles, right? So you're eccentrically load, and then you store that energy, then you pop back up. A lot better on the nervous system than breaking inertia. Breaking inertia is like 3 times the energy expenditure than when there's a little bit of momentum. That's kind of why Bulgarians did squat every day, why a lot of people do high frequency squatting every day, but no one really does 3 times deadlifts a week, or high frequency deadlifts, or deadlift every day. And there's a reason for that, and it's because of that little rule, is that you want to do eccentrics first, because it's just your central nervous system, the little lollipop that we are, the brain with the little tail called the spinal cord. It's way too much. It's way too much nervous excitement for you to just get the freaking weight moving. It's a physics law. To overcome friction, you need a whole lot more energy than to continue sliding that thing, you know. The super squat method, Jackson, is this. Get yourself this book if you want a really good read. A lot of people keep asking me, like, what are some of the influences you've had in terms of texts that you've read? This is amongst them. I've read a whole bunch of things. To be honest, ever since getting a couple of kids, I haven't really had the time to do a lot of reading. But I really do miss reading, and I hope to get there again, read some stuff. I really want to start buying Louis Simmons' stuff. I'd love to read some of the manuals that he's got, but it's just the time. I don't have the time anymore. Maybe when the kiddies grow up a little bit, I'll have the time back again. But yeah, give it a read, man. It's well worth your time. Miz, how you going, man? Thank you so much for the support as well. You're a beast. Squats 3 times a week. Your top 10 worst exercises to avoid. Top 10 worst exercises to avoid. Oh, man. I don't know if I have that many exercises to avoid, to be honest with you. Do I even have one? This is the thing, like when you are asking me, you know, in the midst of a squat everyday program, there are some exercises which I can't do. What I would like to say is that there's like tiers to this, right? So in tier 1, you have an exercise which you do, and you can't do other exercises. For instance, like if you are, let's say, doing AMRAP sets with the squats, you can't do deadlifts. You just can't. It's not going to go well for you. So it depends on your background, depends on your current program and your current goal, is what's going to influence that top 10 list. So, you know, if I was to get off the squat everyday program and I would squat once a fortnight, deadlifts could be the tier 1. So it's kind of like this, you know, you have something that you give most of your energy to, and then other things are kind of mutually exclusive. You know, like if you do this, then you can't do rowing. Like if you really do AMRAP sets with freaking with deadlifts, right? Well, can you really do heavy rows? You can't. But in general, in a vacuum, I used to think that upright rows were a big no-no to me because of my weird freaking clicking and popping and all this shit that goes on in my shoulders. That doesn't feel good. Like at a certain, like if I just do this with my hands, I can see where the attraction is because I can feel my traps shortening and lengthening. But like soon as I load it a little bit, I feel like my wrist starts to cop it a little bit. And I feel like there's internal rotation. I'm copping it sweetly here and it's just awkward. So I know a lot of people have made lots of different kind of statements in regards to the upright row, but that's probably one lift that I'm not a fan of. What's another lift that I don't like? I can't think of any, dude. Like, it's just scenario based, really. Yeah. 90-degree death. Yeah, man, you gotta stay away from that. Thanks, Owen. You're doing a lot of volume, bro, Joe Hobo. Yeah, that's right. Well, I'll tell you one exercise that I really felt off. I remember doing single leg squats, split stand squats, Bulgarian split squats, whatever you want to call them. I'm forgetting to eat. Um, and I remember thinking about it and progressing it. I think I got to 140 kilos one-legged squat or something like that. And I remember telling you guys, like, I have no idea how this is even working. I was expecting you would need to be like around 50% of your 1 rep max in a two-legged squat. But so it turns out that you can actually do more. And I remember doing this, and I remember like my knee, like almost sliding forward, like within the knee, like this type of movement, like ACL kind of like how you going movement. And I remember that, like 1 set, 2 set, 3 set, I'm like, fuck, what am I doing here, man? I might tear my ACL doing this shit. So I've gone away from it. No more single-legged squats that heavy. I'm a fan of reverse bodyweight lunges, reverse lunges, great. But loading a one-legged squat felt like I was gonna blow my knee out, to be honest with you. Juggernaut training systems books, yeah. All that stuff. I wish I had the time, man. I wish I had the time to do that. I wish I could like really embrace being a student of the game and all that. It's just don't have the time. It's simple as that. Between working at the hospital and training and then doing this kind of thing, the YouTube, that you don't have a lot of time. Like most nights we have something on. 3 kids is a lot, Have I been contacted to be a guest on podcasts? Yeah, I have. I've done a few podcasts. You can YouTube it. I've done a few things. And people do contact me all the time. I don't know. Locking in a time and doing all that. Yeah, just with the 5-month-old at home, I don't want to lock in a time in like 3 weeks' time, and then it turns out that I can't. And yeah, I don't like time commitment. I've got way too much stuff on, and I almost feel negative when I tell the wife, "Oh, look, on top of this squat every day thing and the YouTube thing, in 2 weeks' time, I've got this on." And obviously, I've got a life as well. I've got functions I need to go to. There's other life happening, and so I think podcast is a bit too much commitment into the YouTube game. But for the fellas that I actually know, like the Seeker Strength boys, Pete Rubish, those was a pleasure. Like that was a want. That was not, okay, I'll do it for you. That was like, no, Seeker Strength boys, I watch them. I'm a big fan of what they do, and that was a pleasure. Pete Rubish, man, before I was way behind the years, man, when I started watching Pete Rubish and what he was doing and all that. I was like, God, you contacted me, like, what an honor, man. Like, of course I'll talk to you, dude. But there's people that I've never met in my life or watched any of their stuff contacting and asking, and I've done 1 or 2 of those as well. But since having the little baby at home, nah, no, not at the moment. Oh, the squad every day is ending. Don't worry, man. Time is coming. And I will know it when the time is right. It's just the reason why I haven't stopped it is because I haven't had a proper reason. I thought the baby was going to end it. But the way it turned out, like we went to the hospital. She was supposed to get induced. We rocked up in the morning. Like at 8 o'clock, we rocked up at the hospital. She's freaking 40 weeks, I think she was. No, she wasn't this time around. She was like 39 weeks. Rock up at the hospital at 8 o'clock. I get up that morning at 5:30 to train. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'll train that day. And when you rock up to the hospital, you never know how long the labor is going to be. So I thought, cool, this is the last day. We get to the hospital at 8 o'clock. She gets induced at 12. And then baby's out at... Oh yeah, contraction started at 3 o'clock. 5 p.m. proper labor hits. And I reckon by, what time was it? 9:50 p.m. he gets born. And then, tidy all that stuff up, the hospital. And then by the time I hit 2 o'clock in the morning, I went home. Or 3 o'clock in the morning, or was it 4 o'clock? Something like 3 or 4 in the morning, I went home. They didn't let me stay in the hospital. I went home, slept for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Got up, went back to the hospital. And we were discharged from the hospital around, God, I want to say like 3, 4 o'clock or something like that. And then that second day, I trained at 9 p.m. Mom's okay, baby's sleeping, they're resting. And I'm like, okay, so I could probably skip the day today. I could probably skip the day today and just say, oh, I've had a baby. Everyone understands that a baby is it's a really good excuse, a really good ending. My son was born. I'm sitting and I'm like, yeah, I'm tired. I could go for a nap. But I could go squat. Like, let's be honest here. I can go squat and it doesn't have to be the end. And I thought, when my son, when this baby, he's 20 years old, he's going to be like, Dad, did you really have to stop the squat every day because of me? No, son, I didn't. And I'll do it. And so he kind of got to, I started thinking about those thoughts. I don't want him to feel like he ended it. So I was like, I'll squat. And then thereafter, I had 6 weeks off and it was, that's the washing machine. And then thereafter, he was just continue on the thing. I had 6 weeks off work and it was, yeah, sure, we were sleeping like shit. The little fella was waking up all the time, but, and that was it. And yeah, you could probably squat the bar. And this is the thing, I'm not going by any rules for anybody else. This is my journey. This is my thing. So I don't need to justify it to anybody. This is my thing. It happens to be a public journal that I've got here, but that's what I did. And feels good to me. I remember when I had fevers of 40 with COVID once, COVID twice, when I had all these illness. Yeah, I could have ended it. But I thought, fuck, if somebody had a gun to my head, could I go squat 60 kilos? Yeah, I did. I remember one day I squatted an empty barbell, I reckon, when I had fever. Or did I put 20 kilos on? I can't remember. Severe backaches, joint aches, all that, myalgia, all that stuff. Proper sick. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty feeling shit, but I could probably squat. Let's be honest. And that's kind of how it, what it is for me. And at the end of the day, this is not, doesn't need to mean anything for anyone. This is just my thing. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of that I've stuck around for this long. And part of me is like, okay, so when this ends, what am I going to do? God knows what I'll do, Yeah, Oliver, go for it, man. Let me know. The kids thing, lifting weights, I think the simple answer is yes. They should lift weights. But not heavy weights. Do you know what I mean? I don't believe in maxing out a 10-year-old. I don't think that's a good idea. My son wants to lift weights with me all the time. He's like, Dad, can I lift this? Can I lift that? Can I lift this? And I'm like, no. If he wants to train sit-ups, push-ups, lunges, pull-ups, that kind of thing, that should be the story. That should be his thing. There's no reason for him to be doing bicep curls. You can do pull-ups. Do pull-ups. And he can get a 1 or 2 pull-ups even at 7 years old. So I think axial loading is the thing that I'm afraid of. Growth plates and whatnot. Well, yeah, I could probably restart. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll love this. I'll love it. If I missed 1 or 2 days, my training fun is from a high frequency point of view. This is what I love to do. I'm not doing this for, I've said this before. I actually part of me wants to stop this just so I can stop with the freaking big number, 1,500 days in a row. I don't like it. I want to go back to day one. But I don't want to end something just for the sake of wanting to do it. Like, let's wait for something, a time where I truly cannot make it to the bar, and that's it. Do you feel like you sometimes overanalyze your movement and feel like it's detrimental to your progress? And if so, what's your way to get out of that habit? This is a very famous question by the community, overanalyzing. I don't understand this attraction to that statement, to that thought. You're overthinking. For me, thinking is never a detriment. Do you think Einstein overthought? Socrates, Aristotle, Plato. Do you think these individuals were like, you know what? I reckon I've done enough thinking. No. The overthinking is like, okay, you're playing soccer and you become undecisive because you're too much thinking. Okay. You could say that he's thinking too much. Or you can say he's not thinking clearly. Because you don't say to somebody, just stop thinking. No, like, what the hell does that even mean? Thought, thinking is our special power as a human being. To say to yourself, just stop thinking and do shit, or follow somebody else's thoughts, makes no sense to me. Makes absolutely no sense to me to think that not thinking is a good idea. And it's completely against my being. Like, I can't do it. Like, I have to think. This is me. So eventually there will be an end where I kind of think, okay, I reckon I've thought about everything enough and I have a recipe and I have a way forward. And now the juice is, ready to be picked. Now I can start enjoying the fruits of my labor of thought. Imagine this. Imagine if I said to you like this. You do 5 years of constant overanalyzing. At the end of the 5 years, you will be a master at your craft. Imagine that. Get thinking. You'll sort it out. This idea of, Ivan, you should stop thinking, man. So what am I supposed to do now? You want me to just pick up the next program that gets thrown in my face and say, oh yeah, to follow him. But didn't he think about that? So why should I follow him? His completed work of thought, and abandon my thought masterpiece. Makes no sense to me. I don't get that. I think it's a nice way out. Things are way too difficult. Just stop, man. Why would you do shit that is hard? Don't do that. Just do something easy, man. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, Ronaldo, Messi, all of these people. Did they give up? You don't give up, dude. Favorite books? Yeah, like trading books wise, yeah. Power to the People. Power to the People by Pavel Tsatsouline. That shit hit me sweet. Really, really sweet. I'm responsible for some sales of that book, probably because I've spent basically good 6-7 years praising his work. But Pavel, he unlocked something in my mind, and that book did it. Power to the People. I read it probably 3-4 times. 3 times at least. I want to read it again. Alrighty, what are we up to now? What time is it? 15 minutes. All right, let me stop it here, fellas. I'm gonna go and drink something and get ready and go to the garage and have a discussion with my soul under 180 kilos. So let me go do that. It's time to get it. I'm going to try and get 4 reps as quick as possible. Suck in the big breaths. Get 3 reps if I can. Pause a little bit. Suck in the big breaths. Get 2. Then get 1. So that's 4, 3, that's 7, plus 2, that's 9, plus 1, that's 10. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'm going to go for 1. Try and get the 11th. And then have a real good discussion about 12. Let's see how it goes. I'll give it my good go, my absolute best, and see where I end up. But anyway, that video will come out later, and you guys will see what I get up to. All right, guys. Appreciate you like always. Thank you for sticking around. Yeah, it's Pavel Tsatsulin. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.